Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F1 25 career mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great weekend and great week as we are headed into Austria this weekend as we continue to develop this Sport machine, and we have now leapfrogged over Aston Martin and have become quickly the 5th best team on the grid. It has been a rapid growth type of season for this brand new 11th team on the grid, and I am very glad we chose to go with Sport as a rookie because it is starting to pay off. Now, as we head into this weekend, you don't really know still what to expect because, right now on the R&D, on paper, we're at the top of the midfield, but that doesn't really mean a whole lot. It still could mean we're going to run, 15th this weekend. You really don't know, but of course, strategy could play a big role in this Grand Prix as well. We had some news this weekend, rumors out, Kimi Antonelli, he's been struggling as a Mercedes rookie. There's been some rumors that Toto Wolff is already running out of patience and could be looking to replace Antonelli following this season if he doesn't step it up. We're almost halfway through this season officially. Not too surprising to hear some of that kind of conversation start to come up here now as we head on to the racetrack now from free practice 1, and was pretty happy with the way the car was driving. A little bit of lacking grip, but it wasn't too big of an issue for me. So, overall was quite content. This corner, the final turn, really easy to slip the car out. The sweeping corners here in Austria with the handling model in this game, and maybe the setup I was running as well, were the corners I was struggling at the most. So like these double left-handers and then the final 2 right-handers on the track. So really the end of Sector 2 and a lot of Sector 3, I was definitely finding the kind of weakness in this car currently. But overall, we were running pretty consistent and competitive lap times. You can see right there, slipping and sliding around. That was more because of the curb usage. So we opened up the DRS down the front straightaway, coming through to cross the stripe, and pretty happy with where we were at the end of FP1. It would end up raining, and we would end up at the top of the board here in FP1, but of course we always take that with a grain of salt. So, getting ready to go racing here this weekend, hoping for some points, but of course requires a good qualifying effort to set you up well, and we come through into Saturday afternoon ready to put a qualifying lap in, and we've gotten to a point now where unless it's raining, I expect this car to get through Q1, and the question is, can we make it to Q3? That's of course not quite as easy as making it to Q2. Definitely it's borderline if we can make it to Q3, but feeling confident at least about getting through Q1 here, and for myself, that's exactly what would happen here. We had already run a lap, and this is the very end of Q1, and this is my second lap, and I was 14th. Now, Aiden Jackson actually was not looking so hot early on in his qualifying attempt, but I come through to cross the stripe, finding about 2/10 gain, and I am able to go through into P12. However, my teammate Aiden Jackson, first one out, P17, so maybe looking like not as much speed as we would prefer in the Sport this weekend. Question was, what could I do here in Q2? Could I find some pace to kind of, hold up what we had there in FP1, for example? Lewis Hamilton was down in P12 at this point, and this was at the tail end of Q2, so he was having to find some speed. We always talk about it. It seems like a Ferrari always struggles in qualifying, and Hamilton seems to be the one struggling this time around as we come through to the final few corners. Bit of a mistake right there. Hamilton does not improve. He stays P12. He will miss Q3. We round the final couple of turns, coming back to the line, and I don't think it's going to be that pretty as well. We cross the stripe. It looks like we might have beat Kimi Antonelli, who's been in the conversation this weekend. We sure enough do. It's P15. He will be P16, Hamilton out as well, and you see Esteban Ocon P11, a solid qualifying effort from him as the Haas team continues to look pretty solid, but P15, P17 for Sport. Some work to do this weekend as we're definitely off of where we would prefer to be.
Welcome from the beautiful Styrian Mountains for another chapter in the story of the Austrian Grand Prix. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Piastri, Leclerc, George Russell and Tsunoda, Fernando Alonso, Sainz, Gasly and Lance Stroll, Ocon, Albon and Sir Lewis Hamilton and Behrman, Golden Boy, Antonelli, Aiden Jackson and Liam Lawson, Hulkenberg, Hadjar, Bortoletto and Jack Doohan rounds off the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race.
Alright then, you can see the one-stop strategy here that we've got on the board. Mediums to hards, pretty straightforward day here for the Austrian Grand Prix.
And the formation lap is underway here in Austria. The atmosphere coming from the fans here today is electric. This circuit gives drivers fantastic overtaking opportunities due to the 3 long straights. So let's hope we're in for some wheel-to-wheel action today.
Majority of the field starting on hards, but you see some select drivers electing to go onto the mediums.
As the cars come back towards the grid to line up for the start of the race, each driver will be wanting to get the best start they possibly can, and they'll be hoping to finish today's race on the podium, failing that, within the points.
Right guys, not looking like we quite have the speed we need, but honestly, let's just stay on top of it in strategy. Who knows what's going to happen here?
Yes mate, could get crazy into turn 1, be ready.
We're ready to go racing. Pulling up to the grid, Kimi Antonelli there in the Mercedes just behind myself. And the Alpine's going to roll up to the very back of the grid, and we'll get ready to go. 5 red lights, and of course take off to kick off this 36-lap sprint Grand Prix in the Austrian Grand Prix. Now here we go. Lights out. We're racing now. What can we do? Can we score some points? I honestly think we can get the strategy here in this one. Now Hamilton goes all the way to the right side, leaves the door wide open. I breeze around the outside, and we have moved up to 13th. Jackson's gained a few spots as well. Meanwhile, it's front row side by side. Verstappen versus Norris. Verstappen gets clear on the run into turn 3. Leclerc under pressure from Oscar Piastri, the Australian, who's had a horrible season filled with DNFs and bad luck. He is trying to recover, but obviously he's already out of the championship picture, as Lando Norris, of course, was finally able to get some points on Max Verstappen in that last episode in the Canadian Grand Prix, as Verstappen had a mechanical failure while being the net leader of the Grand Prix, and that allowed Norris to take over the victory, score his second win on the season. He's the only other driver that's won the season that's not Max Verstappen, and gained a full race on the Dutchman. So that 5th consecutive world title talks that we've already been giving to Max Verstappen, we're going to put that on hold a little bit here and see what happens over the next couple of races. But Verstappen has had such a dominant season, a worse result of second, so many wins now. As I'm under pressure from Hamilton into this penultimate corner, we don't let him slide into the doors. Actually get a warning for exceeding track limits. Thought that one was a little bit harsh, but Max Verstappen leads following lap 1. As usual, really struggling compared to the AI in straight line speed. Some battles up in front, actually some ghosting, and look at these guys all over the place. Albon going for a move, and now with DRS, we're going to make a move on Esteban Ocon in the Haas. Here comes Lewis Hamilton. He's going to force it 3 wide to the left side. We've seen Hamilton not afraid in this Ferrari to get aggressive this season. We saw it in Miami a little while back, and now we continue to move forward. We're going to get past Ocon. We didn't really gain anything, though, because Hamilton was able to pass us. He got 3 cars in a span of 1 corner, as we're going to continue this fight here with Esteban Ocon. The Frenchman finally going to give it to us now, as we continue to seek redemption for the embarrassment in our home Grand Prix in Canada, as we were on track to score great points. Instead, we gave up a spot late to our teammate of Aiden Jackson, and then with a couple laps to go, I ended up wrecking myself here. Now look at this. As that was all happening, Lando Norris actually took the lead from Max Verstappen going around the outside in turn 3. Verstappen leaves some room for him, and he would head on to the lead of this Grand Prix. So McLaren continue to bring the fight to Red Bull over the last couple of races now, and it really seems like they're starting to find a little bit of that pace that they actually need to be, of course, contending race after race for victories now as we come to the third lap of this Grand Prix and settled into P13. Ocon 14th in between myself and my teammate of Aiden Jackson. So both of us have moved forward comfortably from where we started now as here comes Verstappen. He's going back at Lando Norris into turn 1 to start lap 4. Norris and Verstappen, they collide into turn 1 contact. Doesn't look like any damage, but they both kind of squeezed into each other. Norris did not leave Verstappen much room, but it looks like Verstappen kind of veered back into him. That was kind of a 50-50, but it results with Norris maintaining the lead as I have a big slide coming out of the final turn. That's going to leave us vulnerable. Here comes Ocon, here comes Jackson. They'll probably both get us into turn 1. Ocon for sure does, and I'm not going to fight Jackson simply because 2 reasons. He's my teammate, and I was just had a big moment. I was trying to kind of calm down and get sorted out, and just as that was happening, Liam Lawson, big slide out of turn 1, gets it straightened out. Goodness gracious, we've got some chaos here in these opening laps of the Austrian Grand Prix, and now Jackson has gotten that DRS and gotten himself alongside Esteban Ocon. They're going to drag race on the run into turn number 4. Who's going to come out on top of this one? Looks like Ocon for now, but it wasn't over. A lap later, Jackson clears him on the run into turn 1. Ocon tries to fight back, can't quite make it happen. Has up got a mirror full of Ollie Behrman, fellow rookie on the grid. We've got 4 rookies in these 5 running spots you see on the leaderboard, with the veteran of Esteban Ocon, who uses the DRS to get himself back again in front of Aiden Jackson. But these two, they continue to go back and forth, and you're seeing now Jackson's able to go back out in front of the Haas, so they just continue to kind of swap positions, and now here I come under attack from the Mercedes. Antonelli finally starting to move forward. Didn't really have a whole lot for him right there, and it doesn't help that my battery situation as well, not that great right now, so just kind of letting things play out, and unfortunately kind of had to bite the bullet on that one and let him have the position. We're 9 laps in, and this has been a super fun Grand Prix so far, maybe one of the most fun races of the season just from a pure action standpoint. And now as well, we are not far from seeing some pit stops kick off, and of course us on the mediums, we're going to be one of those drivers pitting relatively soon, but you can see some battles up ahead, and actually yellow flags, not sure where that's coming from. I think it's behind me. It is, it's right behind us. It's Ollie Behrman. He's got a mechanical failure in the Haas. It's going to be day over for Behrman. Unfortunate, and he's going to hold up several drivers. Isaac Hadjar, Bortoletto, Lawson, and Doohan all being held up right there. They're going to be clumped together. No safety car. We stay green as they continue to scrap side by side in front of us. It's just a complete hornet's nest right here in front of us now, and it's probably going to remain like this until pit stops kick off. That's when things really start to, of course, separate. As you can see, this battle taking place as we're right to the back of Antonelli. Hamilton's in the middle of this, and he's actually gone backwards now. He's back down to P13. Esteban Ocon's even gotten through on the 7-time world champion. So interesting dynamics as we start to see some pit stops now. It looks like one of the Aston Martins is coming in, and that might be Alonso, no, Stroll, sorry, and as well Albon in the Williams has come into the pits. So we're in the pit window, and of course I'm curious to see who's going to try 2 stopping versus 1 stopping. We're going a little bit longer, but if you pit now, you're pretty well committing to a 2 stop, as we can, of course, are committing to a 1 stop. As I was going for a move on Antonelli and couldn't make it happen, and that completely left the door open for that guy Hulkenberg to go get both of us. That was the type of move that you make as a rookie that you need to learn from, because we should not have in any world let Hulkenberg be able to pass us right there. And then he pits a lap later and comes into the pits now, and so does Esteban Ocon, so does Yuki Tsunoda. So we're continuing to move up the order, and all those guys that have pitted right now, they're 2 stopping this race, so they are relying on just pure pace later in the Grand Prix to kind of bring them in front of us by the time we get to the end of this thing, of course, in 36 laps time. As Verstappen and Norris, they continue to fight back and forth for the lead. They continue to swap. Verstappen will lead a lap, then Norris, he'll go and lead a lap, and they just go back and forth just like every lap or 2. As you can see, Aiden Jackson now losing out to Kimi Antonelli on our front nose right there. So Antonelli continuing to grind his way forward. He has to prove himself now. Toto Wolff has been exploring options to replace Antonelli potentially. It's not a guarantee as we come to lap 15, and now Jackson able to get back out in front of Antonelli, who locks up right there into turn 3. You see the tire warning icon has come on, so we got to pit, and we're lap 15 coming to lap 16. We're in range now. If we pit now, we put on the hards, we will be able to make it to the end pretty comfortably, so we're going to come into the pits right now. Jackson's going to probably come next time around. Antonelli, of course, can go a little bit further as we slide around. They're coming into the pit lane. This is a tricky pit lane to get into because you're carrying so much speed in a very narrow patch of asphalt. But we come into the pit lane without much issue there, and we will be putting on the hards. Now, I was actually originally scheduled to go for one more lap. You can see the pit window just open, but just the tire icon warning was on, and I was starting to struggle for grip. I wanted to get in. We have a very solid competitive pit stop right there, and now we'll get back out onto the racetrack and see what we can do. We're going to be coming out behind some of these guys there, Bortoleto, Hadjar, Lawson. These are guys we were all ahead of course, but they still have to make pit stops, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. So we're going to spend the next few laps getting these tires up to temperature. You can see a little bit later on lap 16, my right front now up to temperature at this point. My teammate of Aiden Jackson still on the racetrack, actually. He's really stretching this run out here. As you can see, the two V-carbs really scrapping it out of this final turn, coming to lap 17, and they're going to go after it again in turn 1. Hadjar goes left with DRS, Lawson to the right. He gets cleared, however, but we should have a good opportunity if we get a good run up towards turn 3 to maybe pass one of them. Lawson's now going to come back at Hadjar, who's going to fall victim to his teammate, and he's going to fall victim to me. He tries to defend left. We shoot one up the inside. We'll be wheel to wheel into the braking zone, and we'll leave him just enough space, but he doesn't even need it. We clear him on the exit now, and now we will set our sights on Liam Lawson and try to make a pass on him. My teammate, Aiden Jackson, still yet to come into the pits. He is really running those mediums long. I am quite impressed because I don't think there's any world I could have gone as far as he has, but he has come into the pits now, coming to the start of lap 18, so we should have quite a comfortable buffer to Jackson, who's going to have a little bit more grip and tire advantage than I will have, of course, with pitting a good 3 laps later. So it'll be interesting to see if he can reel us in over the course of this final half now as we continue to watch these battles in front of us. Lawson and Bortoleto, look how much we close when they battle side by side. We catch Lawson off guard there, the New Zealander under pressure now as we've got that slipstream from Bortoleto. We continue wheel to wheel. He's going to show the nose on Bortoleto and not quite going to make it happen. We continue around the outside, and I can't make it happen either. Lawson stays ahead, so we would have to wait till lap 19 when these two start battling again into turn 1, wheel to wheel. We could get them both right here now as we exit the corner. Terrible exit for both drivers, but Lawson has a DRS. Where do we go? We kind of had to check up there, as now we'll pull back to the left. I should have went left originally, but we'll go wheel to wheel with Bortoleto down into turn 3. I should say up into turn 3. Of course, it is uphill. We clear him. We get a great run off the corner. Hold on, an opportunity maybe to get the no DRS V-carb of Lawson. We'll pull out to the left side. We'll go wheel to wheel down on this run into turn 4. Break just past the 100 marker, and we'll get around the outside of him this time. Hold on, it might not be complete quite yet. He tries to keep the nose there in towards the left-hander. He's still there, but we clear him now, and I had to really drive it off into that left-hander to get clear, but the job is done, and we continue to march our way forward, as we as well know that there is still drivers that are pitting one more time compared to us that have committed to that 2-stop strategy. That's really going to help us, I think, here, and I think we've honestly got a chance for points depending on how this strategy plays out. We now continue to lap 20 at this point, and finally the leaders come into the pits at the end of lap 20. Norris and Verstappen both, they really stretched it out on the hards, and now they will jump onto the mediums for the final 17 laps of racing. They'll have just enough time there to get those to the end. As you can see, our teammate Jackson, he's down in P21 after staying up that much longer than I did. So he's got some work to do, but he will benefit, of course, once everyone makes their last pit stop in front of him. Piastri is actually out in front of Verstappen. He pitted earlier than these guys, but he has to make a second stop, and he's not going to try and overtake Lando Norris. Is going to help his team and pretty well push him, as here comes Liam Lawson actually back at me. I couldn't quite break the DRS, and now he's able to immediately attack me, but I give it right back to him as we open that DRS again, and now, just like he did to me, I'm going to be the one making the pass this time on the run into turn 4. Just the AI have way more straight line speed than I have. Now yellows, it's actually Lawson. It's right there, Lawson, mechanical failure, just as we were battling side by side. It's going to be day over for the V-Carb driver of Lawson. That's one more car out of this race. We're down to 20 cars remaining, as we, of course, are now in a pretty fortunate spot because we don't have to battle anyone now, because we've also broken the DRS on Bortoleto. So Unfortunate for Lawson, but it really helps us. Look at this. Piastri, who's still out on those older tires, is making life very difficult for Max Verstappen, and they would continue in this little back and forth battle, which is exactly what McLaren wants Piastri to do, because it's allowing Norris to open up the gap to Verstappen. Verstappen surely can't be happy about this, because he gets past him, and then Piastri again is going to come past the Dutchman. That has got to be super frustrating. It's just a matter of time until he pits, but McLaren playing the game here in Austria to really help maximize the points for Lando Norris in his fight to try and run down Max Verstappen in this World Championship. Now, second pit stop's kicking off for drivers Hamilton, Fernando Alonso as well. We are now back up to P12. More drivers in front of us still have yet to pit, but Hamilton is running me down quickly. Jackson has moved up into P14 now, just because of us being on the one pit stop strategy. And here comes Lewis Hamilton, who's going to be all over me in a matter of seconds. Now out of the final turn, Esteban Ocon now into the pits. It's an Aston Martin of Lance Stroll into the pits as well, and Alex Albon in the Williams. This breaks us into P9. Hamilton, however, within 6 now tenths of a second. He's probably going to get us down this straightaway, or at least the next one, burning a little bit of battery there to at least try and maintain a gap here. He comes. Look at the speed. 7-time champ Hamilton breezes past us as Piastri finally pits, coming to lap 25, and Max Verstappen now, the damage is done, nearly 6 seconds back from Lando Norris after Piastri made life really difficult for Verstappen. As we now come to watch this battle in front of us, Hamilton has passed Hulkenberg, and we are running down Nico Hulkenberg pretty quickly, but he is going to have to box here probably within the next lap or two. So he is on that two-stop strategy that we have seen many drivers that take today, and there you see it right there. Hulkenberg is going to come into the pit. So this puts us back into 9th. Alex Albon's about a second back. He is quickly closing. He is as well just made a pit stop, and as well Gasly's in. So is George Russell. This moves us up to P6, and we've got 11 laps to go. There is now a very real chance that both myself and Aiden Jackson can score points today, because he's up to 8th as well, and his gap to myself is not changing a whole lot. Now, of course, there's this guy, Alex Albon, who's super quick right now, running great. How about P6 for Alex Albon on a two-stop strategy? I mean, great effort right there from him, as it's going to be a big day for Williams now here in Austria. But for myself and Jackson, we run P7, P8. He's got Antonelli just behind him. George Russell has really failed on strategy today. He's actually outside of the top 10 after committing to the two-stop, but we have got a very real chance to get the first double points finish for our team today, as now Lando Norris leads over Max Verstappen, Leclerc, and Piastri. Hamilton, your top 5, as I'm going to do through the grid today. We're going to kind of go back and forth sometimes and have Crofty and Brundle do it, then you can have me do it sometimes, but as well, I mean, how about Oscar Piastri? Not the season he's been looking for. He runs P4 today, which is a step up, and he's gotten some good speed for the final part of this run, which is only, of course, 7 laps. Lewis Hamilton, again, Ferrari, they continue to struggle in qualifying with at least one car, and Hamilton always rebounds when he has a poor qualifying effort, and he's done so again today. Albon not far behind in P6, and of course following with myself in P7, Jackson P8. How about Yuki Tsunoda in P9? We talked about Antonelli being a rookie that could be at risk of losing his seat, but Tsunoda has had some moments of struggles as well. He's wheel to wheel with my teammate of Aiden Jackson. He passes him now, and that's not what I wanted to see, because that Red Bull's going to be way quicker than I am. And now as well, Jackson under a bit of pressure from Antonelli actually is able to hold him off, and now Jackson will have DRS to help himself out. Alonso there, P11, Carlos Sainz battling with George Russell there in 12th and 13th. As you look down the rest of the order, of course, Bortoleto all the way towards the bottom there, just behind Jack Doohan. As we come back on board here towards the tail end of lap 30, at this point now, Norris just wanting this race to kind of stay green, hoping no safety cars, and just get him home and gain some more points on Max Verstappen, who is, of course, trying to kind of just walk away with his 5th consecutive world title. At this point, it's been unbelievable what Verstappen has been able to accomplish this season so far, and he is well on track still. I mean, he could finish second the rest of the races and still maybe win the championship if Lando Norris wins all of them. That's how much of a gap he has built up. But here comes Yuki Tsunoda, and these closing laps now, he's about to be in DRS range. I don't think I'm going to be able to hold him off, and he's got that Red Bull power, and out of the final turn, here he comes within DRS now. But I mean, Aiden Jackson, he is able to right now hold off Kimi Antonelli, so we could be looking at 8th and 9th. maybe 8th and 10th if Antonelli gets Jackson. I mean, we still got 4 laps of racing to go. Here comes Tsunoda down this long straightaway run towards turn 3, and again, just like Hamilton passed us earlier, not much we can really do in that scenario, so we drop to P8. And now it's just about bringing it home and just trying to stick with Tsunoda, which was not possible. My tire icon comes on, but we've jumped straight to the final lap because nothing else happened. And we bring it to the final lap here of the Austrian Grand Prix. And what a drive. We both started deep in the field. Connor Sport, I mean, we were, 15th, 17th? But Lando Norris, out of the final turn, down the front straightaway, wins 2 back-to-back Grand Prix, his 3rd win of the season. He continues to close in on Max Verstappen in the championship. The momentum is finally shifting, and for Connor Sport, we have been trying to score points for both cars in one Grand Prix. We were so close in Canada until I completely bended on my own and embarrassed myself in front of the home crowd. But you know what? There's moments like this where you get redemption. Out of the final turn, it's going to be P8 and P9 for Connor Sport. The first time the team will score points for both cars. What a day, and P8 here in Austria can't ask for much more. Awesome stuff, guys. Let's go. Both cars in the points. Great stuff. Great for Aiden as well. Thank you for the hard work, guys. I mean, what a weekend. Let's keep pushing.
And here he comes. It's all go, go, go for Lando Norris as he takes the checkered flag and wins.
And that's 2 episodes in a row where we haven't had to hear the annoying quote of "there's no Verstappen, Max Verstappen." I am so tired of hearing that. I'm hoping that we don't have to hear that too much here going forward. It does seem like the tides are starting to shift a little bit as you see the podium celebration. Norris, Verstappen, Leclerc as well. Ferrari try to keep themselves in the mix now, but of course it's a McLaren, and Red Bull, you know, run away. How about Alex Albon in P6? A great drive for him after starting P12. The 2-stop was not viable compared to the 1-stop strategy. Drivers that did the 2-stop struggled. Russell started 5th, ended up 13th. Terrible. Look at the points. Norris closes the gap to 65 points. Leclerc back there in P3, 1 point advantage over both Tsunoda and Russell. Piastri makes some headways on the drivers directly in front of him. Hamilton down there still in P7. We make some headway on our teammate of Jackson. We got 6 points compared to his 12. And there we are closing in a little bit on Haas today as we continue to make gains to try and get up to P7 in the Constructors. Next episode, home Grand Prix for my team of Connor Sport and my teammate of Aiden Jackson in Silverstone. I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.